Welcome to another episode of the Speak Black Woman podcast. I am your host, Queen Conyers. And if you are brand new to me, I really broadcast the brilliance of Black women in business. I show them how to turn conversations into cash so they can profit from public speaking virtually and in person. And if you are new, this is your very first time catching me, I want you to go ahead and type in first time in the comments. However, if you've been rocking and rolling with me since, I guess, March now, you are officially family, so you can go ahead and put tribe in the comments. And if you are listening at your leisure, which means you're either working out, picking up the kids at the grocery store, make sure you leave a comment if you like this podcast using your Apple phone, on your iPhone, or your Android. Okay, we have a special treat for you today. I'm so excited because literally we have two of living legends when it comes to LinkedIn. See, some of y'all been skipping out on LinkedIn. Y'all been Snapchatting, TikTok, and going to the club on Facebook and Instagram. And I just want to introduce you to a platform that can really amplify and illuminate your voice. However, I knew that by me doing this, I couldn't do it alone. I had to bring on the heavy hitters who are experts literally in the LinkedIn social media platform. So I wanted to do that. And I wanted to make sure that you were not just learning from me, but you're learning from other people who are really amplifying their voice on the LinkedIn platform. But again, I know that some of you are new to me and some of you have been rocking and rolling. And I just personally believe that it's not enough for me to tell you who I am. I also would love to show you who I am. So watch this quick video and I will introduce our two guests, Robert Youngblood and Bianca J. Jackson, as soon as we come back from this quick video. All right, now that many of you know a little bit more about me, hey, Eric, he said BSN rocks. Okay, I'll take it. Absolutely does. But let's go ahead and get this conversation started. I don't want my guests waiting way too long, so I am going to go ahead and bring them to the stage and first introduce Miss Bianca J. Jackson. She is definitely in the building. And some of you who are not familiar with Bianca J. Jackson, she is a storyteller and branding consultant based in Baltimore. Her background is in tech, digital marketing, social impact, and she has landed special projects and awards such as a Pulitzer Prize. She has 40,000, matter of fact, 40,000 plus followers on LinkedIn. And she has speaking opportunities such as South by Southwest, Summit Philadelphia, and Tech Inclusion in New York. Her work has been featured in publications such as Forbes, Washington Post, and Tech Republic. Bianca, welcome to the Speak Black Woman podcast.
Hey, what's going on, Quinn? Hey, what's going on, everybody who's watching?
All right. So Eric says, come through, BJ. I know that's right. So let me go ahead and also bring up the man of the hour. We also have Robert YB Youngblood. And if you are not familiar with him, let me just tell you, this is the LinkedIn locksmith, y'all. We are truly in for a treat. We have two heavy hitters that's going to talk about how you can really leverage your voice, leverage public speaking, and just get speaking opportunities on LinkedIn. So YB is what I affectionately call him, and his friends and family call him as well, has developed his communication and leadership networking skills to lead and connect people to resources that enhance their business, career, and life. He is known in many circles as the LinkedIn locksmith because he has the ability to unlock the power of LinkedIn for entrepreneurs, job seekers, nonprofit organizations, service clubs, so they can attract new clients, opportunities, donors, and members. He is also my co-author brother. for the Speak Up book, The Ultimate Guide to Dominating in the Speaking Industry. And his chapter focuses on helping speakers leverage LinkedIn to increase their network and their net worth. That is YB, y'all.
What's going on? Peace and blessings. How y'all doing?
So I'm so excited. As I can see, Eric is super excited in the comments. He's like, Rob, my bro. He's all excited. And I see that a few people are watching. Make sure that you understand that this is a dialogue, not a monologue. So if you want to join in, you definitely want to do that. So let's talk about it, right? Let's get to the nitty gritty of this, y'all. I feel, right? So don't judge me on my grammar, but I feel as though, right, LinkedIn does not get the love that it needs and deserves in these social media streets. Bianca, I want to start with you. Why do you, or what do you think is one of the advantages of LinkedIn for speakers and entrepreneurs over the other social media platforms that people might not even be aware of?
Yeah, I'll start with this very simple phrase, right? So LinkedIn is the reason this North Philly girl landed up on the same stage as Barack Obama. Like, if that is not powerful enough, like, I just think that it's powerful. It's such a powerful tool that when we start looking at ourselves as women entrepreneurs, as minority entrepreneurs, and we feel like we don't have the networks to get where we want to go, LinkedIn is that equalizer. So I think that people need to stop playing. I know I'm claiming everything that God has for me for 2021 and beyond, and it's going to come through LinkedIn. So if you don't believe it, just watch me.
Listen, that's what you call a mic drop moment. She said, if you don't believe me, just watch. That's what she said. I had to translate for the people in the back who might not have heard what she just said. So I love that. A North Philly girl landed on the same stage as Barack Obama because of the power of LinkedIn. Great stuff. What about you, YB? What do you think that people are overlooking, that they don't see the power, or what's the power that you feel like is in LinkedIn that just some of the other social media platforms don't even have?
Yeah, the majority of people on LinkedIn, they got money. And a lot of
Ah,
folks on these other social media platforms, they showing you money. They holding money up to their ear. What Jay-Z said, we don't call that money over here. The reality is that a lot of the folks that are on LinkedIn are corporate executives, they're CEOs and chief operating officers. They are decision makers, and they have the ability to pay you and bring you into their organizations just because you're adding value on a phenomenal platform and you have the credibility. And so the key is understanding how to, set yourself up so that you can attract the right people that's going to bring you in and pay you royally.
oh, I love it. I love it. So, I mean, y'all got a whole fan. Eric is in the comments going completely nuts, which I love. So that is good. So let's talk about speakers and entrepreneurs more specifically, because I know that LinkedIn, you could take that a couple different directions. And I think when LinkedIn first came out, it was really for job seekers. It was people who wanted to connect and polish their resume or meet with recruiters. And the face of it has really changed. So Bianca, do you want to talk about how LinkedIn has changed from, I guess, when it first kind of started to where it has evolved now?
Yeah, so I actually just talked about this in a masterclass, right? So actually the mission statement of LinkedIn was very simple. It was basically connecting the world's professionals to more opportunities. What wound up happening though is that the first use case that people jumped onto was like, oh, this is a place where I can put my resume and get a job. And there were so many missed opportunities, right? So LinkedIn was released in 2003, right? Actually before all the other social media platforms that most people use now. And so what has happened is because people have kind of gravitated for that use case, they miss all those opportunities. And when you start looking at the other types of people who come from private schools and Ivy League institutions where they already have these massive networks, people are using like BNI and networking groups like that to really build their network. So now they're catching up. So had we been using LinkedIn almost 17 years ago or 18 years ago at this point, for building those relationships for businesses, especially all of us, will be so much further along. But there's still room and there's still opportunity because a lot of people are actually definitely afraid of LinkedIn. So I'm glad if you're watching this, you won't have to be afraid anymore.
No, I love that, and I can attest. And I'm going to get to this in a second. I have personally been a client of Bianca and YB, so I can tell you all about how they have really assisted me in growing my LinkedIn presence. Because I'm not going to lie, I was treating LinkedIn like the ugly stepchild, but until I had them both kind of in my ear, like, Quinn, you're a speaker. Here's how you can leverage it, and I'll get to that in just a second. But I want to talk about a feature on LinkedIn that I absolutely love. I know YB, we talked about it. Bianca, you gave me some strategies to kind of really go as well. It's the recommendation feature. And YB, I see that you're doing an awesome job. You have a LinkedIn recommendation challenge going on right now. Talk about how important maybe speakers and entrepreneurs can not only leverage the recommendation feature for LinkedIn, but also tell us a little bit about the challenge that you have going on right now.
Absolutely. So we must understand that people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And if you do not have credibility in these streets, people are not going to pay you. And so one of the ways to enhance your credibility is to grow the number of recommendations that you have received so that your clients are looking at the people you've already worked with to say, if you're working with Delta, if you're working with Microsoft, if you're working with, whomever, IBM, then you can probably work with a company like mine. And so we launched the LinkedIn recommendation challenge to flip that on its head, because many of the people that are on LinkedIn are not as active as they should be. And so one of the goals of the LinkedIn recommendation challenge is to increase the activity of LinkedIn users while showing them how to use one strategy, which is giving recommendations, to be able to increase their visibility, credibility, and profitability. And so the recommendation challenge was in place to get folks active. And I'm telling you what, these cohorts are on fire. I've got about 20 folks in the cohort. They're working together, playing together, giving each other business and growing each other's visibility while also giving out recommendations.
Listen, I remember you told me that, Jim. I was like, he's a genius. He is a genius, because you never think about it. You think about, asking for the recommendations. And it's funny because with the recommendations, I've used a little bit of both of your strategy, where I've given a few, but also immediately after I speak, I always ask for them as well. But not just the boring line, like, would you write me a recommendation? Bianca has, and I'm going to come to you for about the recommendation, like, kind of 3 questions. You can either answer one or all 3 of these. So again, I think that's one of the highlights, of this social media platform versus every other. I don't know any other platform that you can write recommendations. You can do reviews, but I just feel like the way it's like crafted is slightly different from like write me a review on Facebook, on my store or my product. So talk a little bit about, how you maybe encourage speakers to get recommendations maybe after they speak, Bianca.
Yeah, sure. I think you got to have a strategy. So like YB, like what I gave you, Quinn, it's really important that you have to know what you want people to recommend you for. Because a lot of times people are lazy, right? So if you can already craft out what you want them to say, or at least lead them down the path for it, it'd be great. But also give people a heads up if you can, and say, hey, I really would love a recommendation, so they don't feel like it's out of left field or anything. Mm-hmm. But I think that a lot of people don't put enough weight on it, because you can convert very well just off recommendations. Like even me personally, I got a webinar just based off recommendations. That webinar led to me being Masters of Ceremony. That led me to being the host for a web series. That led to me getting an award, all from the same organization, and it all started with recommendations. So I just want anyone who's watching this to really get the power in recommendation, and it's actually one of the most powerful pieces of your profile. So make it a part of your strategy, something that you actively and intentionally think about.
Yes, you said so much right there, making sure that you're active, making sure that you're intentional. And what I want to do too is, because people are probably following you, Bianca, following me, following YB. If you're not already doing that, make sure you go to LinkedIn and send them a connection request today, not tomorrow, but today, with a capital T. Let's talk about, and I'm going to call this, your breakdown to your breakthrough. And what I mean by this, I want you to share with people how you were using or running your business, right? But how LinkedIn caused a breakthrough, a shift within your business, because we could talk about what you've done for other people, but let's talk about Bianca's story. Let's talk about YB's story. How has LinkedIn, and you alluded to this a little bit, Bianca. You just said it. So I'm going to start with you, then I'm going to go to YB about how it was a webinar, then an MC of a different event. Talk about how literally LinkedIn is having you break through, maybe to get to certain people that you normally might not find on other social media platforms. So yes, tell us about that.
Sure, I'm bold. So I will slide in somebody's DMs real quick. I don't care if you're the CEO. I don't care if you're on a board of directors. I'm going to get there because I want to get there, right? So I just think that it's really important. And if you look at LinkedIn as your opportunity to talk to anybody and you be fearless about it, it can open up so many different doors, and so many different doors at the same organization. And I think that's the thing that a lot of speakers wish that they had, right? How many times can you do one thing and off that one thing get 3 additional things off of it? And you can do that by reinforcing the relationships that you have on LinkedIn, introducing yourself to more people in the organization so that you can get more access, and then keeping up with them. So, of course, while that one recommendation got me in the door, it was my follow-up. It was me sending thank you messages. It was me being on time. It was me being prepared. It was me being, all the things that they wanted me to be. So showing up in my greatness. So now that they think about, a host or, somebody to come and bring in, they're going to think about me. So I just want people to know that don't look at your speaking career as this one-off thing. Like, look at it as like, how can you continue to go each level up with an organization where they even start coming to you for opportunities?
Yes, that is so good. That's a good breakthrough. That's definitely a good breakthrough. And I want to say everything you mentioned was so good. I mean, literally, Eric is like going in on the comments. The power of recommendation, that is me all the way. Thank you, Eric, for tuning in. I appreciate you. So no, that you just definitely dropped a couple of nuggets. Now, YB, I'm going to come to you for a second, because one of the things that I do is teach entrepreneurs how to get rid of their boring and basic business pitch and how to replace that with a verbal business card. Now, there is not too many people who are wordsmiths like you. Your bios, like that first line, which is like that header underneath your picture, are fire. Can we talk about, because I think you highlighted me, you highlighted a few other people who you kind of like did them like and again, I apologize if this is not the right wording, almost like a LinkedIn makeover. But besides the recommendations, that 1 or 2 lines right under your picture is so profound. Can you talk about, how that 1 or 2 lines, like your profile, your about me, or your summary, not your summary, you know what I'm talking about.
The
headliner. There you go. The headliner. How can a headliner break somebody through on LinkedIn versus just putting a bunch of titles? YB.
Yeah. So when most people set up their profiles, they, the custom headline is like your title at company, and most people they just settle for that. But what I teach is the fact that your LinkedIn profile should be a magnet that attracts your ideal client. And so I tell people, use the headline to promote your value statement. And there are 3 components to the value statement. There's your verb, there's your target, and then there's the impact or result that you're able to get for that particular client. And so when you now you help me with this, sis, so I can't take all the credit. You know what I'm saying? Like you helped me crystallize this whole idea. But once I got it, I said, okay, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna remix it, and I'm gonna give it my own way. But when people read it, when the right people read it, they're going to be drawn to your profile and they're going to read more. And then it should be linked to your banner, and it should be linked to your about section. And once they read that, because the 3 most prominent things that show up whenever you post is your picture, your name, and your headline. So if you have a weak headline, don't expect people to come get drawn to your profile. So your headline should be something that promotes the value that you bring to the marketplace, so that you can attract the kind of clients that you want to work with that are going to pay you based on the results that you're able to get. And so that's the mindset that comes in with that headline section.
Listen, I'm gonna brag on YB, and I'm gonna brag on Bianca for a second here, because I'm telling you, y'all talking to the people who got my LinkedIn life together. Like, that needs to be a whole course. Get your LinkedIn life together. I need to be the spokesperson for that, right? So one of the things that we had talked about, because how you're good for other people, but you're not always know what to say, for you. And I remember, YB, one of the things that we talked about when we had our strategy session was about, if I'm a speaker, show I'm speaking. So if you go to my profile now, it's not like Quinn, speaker, author, coach. It's literally 4 pictures of me doing it. So that was like a huge shift that I implemented right away, where he was like, let me show you and not just tell you. So a lot of the banners that you go to, it'll have like a picture of that person. It might have like leadership speaker or keynote presenter. My LinkedIn like banner has no images, no words at all. It's just literally 4 images of me speaking. So YB definitely, gave me that insight. And then listen, y'all, multiple people, y'all see, like y'all trying to go to one person for one thing. Like there's different people and different fire. And I remember when Bianca and I, thanks to Clubhouse, Robert, close your ears, right? Close your ears, right? Thanks to Clubhouse, I actually am making a pivot. And I publicly wanted to thank, Bianca for that, because, as a speaker, everybody wants to be a keynote speaker. And yes, I can do that. And yes, workshops and stuff like that. But what I realized just in my personal journey as a speaker, that I'm good at speaking. I'm great at training, but I'm grand at being an MC and a moderator. So I made a conscious decision to actually change up my LinkedIn to try to find or attract event planners who needed a moderator or a host. So I actually just changed my headline to attract, like you said, YB, more of the event planners and event planners, but to book me not as a keynote speaker, but as a virtual MC, event, or host. So I just want to let you know that Bianca and YB definitely have been all up in my LinkedIn line, crew, road, avenue, street, and boulevard as far as a group effort of getting myself together. So
can I drop something real quick? So I remember the morning that I called you. It was a Saturday morning. And I saw your profile. I said, no, I'm gonna shoot my shot, because y'all don't know Quinn like I know Quinn. I know Quinn. I won't go there today. I won't. But I was like, I'm gonna shoot my shot. And I think what made it important. This is the point I want to make to the people that are listening. You have to be coachable and teachable if you want to make things happen on LinkedIn, because like Bianca said, people are definitely afraid of LinkedIn for whatever reason. Right. I don't know if it's because they're like, oh, it's professional. Well, so are you, if you think you are, right? But I think the key to Quinn's success on LinkedIn was the fact that she was extremely coachable and she executed on what she was taught. I was so impressed when automatically he was like, okay, that's done. I already did that. Right? And I think it's important that once you take this information and you apply it, and then you put yourself in a position to test it out, like you're doing. Like you tested it out, and now you see, okay, let me shift it so that I can not only attract those people. And here's another key point. People in your network can then take that information that you've put and easily repeat it to someone else. Because sometimes it's difficult to tell other people what other folks do, because they do so much. I do 50 million things. I'm like, I can't remember that. But if you put your message in such a way that someone else can repeat it and share it with someone else, that's money right there. And that's what you're doing, Quinn.
Yeah, I tell Bianca all the time, like, I'm a teacher, I'm a trainer, but I'm a super student. Like, I'm like, oh, you teach me something. And sometimes it's about just investing your time. It's not always, here's money. But if Bianca gets on the phone with me for 30 minutes or 10 minutes, or YB talks to me for an hour, or shoots something in my email, I know they know their craft. So I would be disrespecting them if I didn't at least execute on what they, said to me, because I know they know their stuff. So that's really good insight. So hold on, we got some love in the comments. Oh my gosh, I love Bianca and I love YB. I don't know who that is. Make sure you click on the link. That way it says StreamYard so we can see you. So love both Bianca and YB.
That's Danielle Tucker.
Oh, is it? Oh, Danielle.
What up, Danielle?
Hey.
Yes. I'm glad that she is here. But no, you made such a good point. I love that. And let's talk about this for a second, because I do feel like LinkedIn is not created equal to other social media platforms. So Bianca and I just talked more recently about having a strategy for LinkedIn only. So I'm going to be honest with you. This is where we're about to step on some toes. We have to have people clutch their imaginary pearls, right? Because usually social media people will tell you that you want to have the same consistent message across all social media platforms. So your Twitter should look like your Snapchat. Your Snapchat should look like your Facebook. Your Facebook should look like IG. Where I stepped out, and if you go to LinkedIn, it's not talking about me teaching Black women in business how to turn conversations into cash. It's all about attracting those virtual MC opportunities. So can you talk about how you can actually step out and almost have a B2B kind of like forward facing social media and like a B2C type of thing, where people who are like afraid to put something different on LinkedIn LinkedIn that might be not the same as Facebook. Can you talk about how, you know, LinkedIn can just be that slightly different social media that you go after, like your corporate clients?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
good,
go
Bianca.
ahead.
No, Bianca. No, good, good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that people need to realize that there's different types of people on all these platforms and they're operating in very different capacities, right? So I'll show up as an executive on LinkedIn, but I could be an aunt on Facebook. I'm looking at it with completely different eyes. And I think people need to understand that. But when it comes to LinkedIn, when you're talking about B2B leads, like it just kicks everybody else's butt out the water. Like you're talking what, 277% higher chance, according to HubSpot, I ain't make this up, but HubSpot did a whole study on this, that you get more qualified leads on LinkedIn than Facebook and then Twitter. So for me, it would be, you'll be wasting your time if you try to employ one strategy and just, you know, mold down all social media. So you absolutely have to have something different. And like YB said, LinkedIn is where the money resides. So you got to talk to people like
Where the money reside? Where the money reside? Where the money
you got to
reside?
be real clear, straight to the point. And how can people make more money, or how can they save money? They don't want to see your cat.
Listen. No, I love it.
Unless you have a cat business now. Like I was talking to a
Right.
guy, and he had, you know, he was actually is a very prominent. He's very prominent in these, news outlet streets, right, and radio hosts and everything like that. And he was holding a pie in his picture, and I told him, I said, unless you are, and he is an ambassador for a pie company, right, and he cooks. But I'm like, but that's not what you're known for. So we need to switch that up. And he was coachable, was able to switch that up. Because I'm like, and then one person asked, should I put me and my kids in there? Like, unless you're promoting like your kids and your business. But if not, you need to put, this is what I tell my clients, you need to put the picture that you would put on your best-selling book. Put that picture, the one that goes on the back, not the one that goes in the front, the one that goes in the back, or the one that is on the inside.
Right.
Put that on your headshot, because that's the first impression. So yeah.
That's good. So Andrea Davis says, I love Bianca too.
Hey,
Danielle
Andrea.
says, this is such an interesting perspective. I told y'all I was going to bring y'all the best. Like, listen, I don't disappoint. I know the people who are making moves out here in these LinkedIn streets. So no, this is good. So let's talk about some practical ways that people can leverage LinkedIn, right? So some people might say, oh, start with your headline or start with your bio. And I think, YB, you taught me this strategy about that About Us section. So let's go there for a second, right? So we talked about the banner. We talked a little bit about, I mean, obviously, like if you're on LinkedIn, you would have a professional headshot. I'm not going to talk about the importance of having a headshot on LinkedIn. Like if you don't even get that, we don't even have a conversation. But let's talk about that About Us section. Okay. You actually, I think working with you, it was about just kind of the emojis, how it was set up, like this is the way that it was structured. So for people, especially speakers who are looking to get more speaking opportunities or speaking engagements, what should be like maybe one or two key things that they should focus on in their About Us section? And then Bianca, I'll come to you.
Yeah, most people have to understand, when you are using social media, you're communicating with two types of people. You're communicating with introverts and you're communicating with extroverts. And the key to your About section is that you want your About section to speak for you before people speak to you. Meaning that you're not using bio speak. You're not speaking in third person. You're not saying Rob Youngblood is da 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 da. No, you need to talk to them as if you were talking to them face to face. Hi, I'm Rob Youngblood. Welcome to my LinkedIn profile. In the last 20 years, I've done X, Y, Z. You got to have an expert statement. So it has to be something that when a person first encounters you in person, these are the things that you would say. You want to make sure that's on your LinkedIn profile. Then the second thing I would recommend is making sure that you highlight questions that would allow for an individual to qualify themselves as a potential client. See, in 2020, we talked about lead generation. Personally, I'm not using that term anymore. We're not focused on lead generation. We're focused on prospect attraction. There's a difference between a prospect and a lead. Everyone goes after leads as if you walk out in the street and you're like, okay, do you need a speaker? Do you need a speaker? Do you need a speaker? That's a waste of time. Create your avatar, or create the type of person that you or organization that you would prefer to work with. Create your qualifying questions, and when people read your profile, if they qualify themselves, they'll contact you. And when they contact you, there's a way to vet them so as to identify whether or not they read your profile or not. And if they read it, they're going to tell you, the reason why I'm reaching out is because I read your profile. I noticed that you do X, Y, and Z. We're looking for X, Y, and Z. And now you're in a position, or you have a posture where you are a magnet, and you're not pushing, or you're not chasing, or you're not, and I don't have a problem with this word because of you, Quinn, pitching, but there's a time and a place to do it. You feel what I'm saying? So many people get on LinkedIn, and the very first thing they want to do once they connect with you, they want to start pitching. And that turns people off. People want to deal with people, not with pictures. You feel what I'm saying? They want to do so the about section can be set up in such a way that people there's an impression that's made, and then internally, psychologically, they've already selected themselves as your client before they even talk to you. And so that's the mindset that we want to have with regards to the about section.
YB, I was about to call you, deacon pastor of LinkedIn, because you said it's a difference between I'm telling you, I take notes. I already knew that they was going to come. Lead generation versus prospect attracting. I am changing. Lead generation just became discount dialect for me. Thank you for that.
That's exactly what it is.
Because I'm going to start.
Like the word help. It's like using the word help. Okay.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Exactly. No, that was so good. Like lead generation versus prospecting. I mean, it's just a whole different mindset. Like you said, if you're chasing and you're pitching versus you're creating content and things like that can actually have somebody attract someone, that would be amazing. Like I love the idea of prospect attraction. So that was so good. I mean, so good. Like I'm literally taking notes. Like I don't play. I'm a student forever. I'm a student forever. So Angela is here. She says, Quinn Conyers rocks. Thank you so much. D. Bowden says, good afternoon, everyone. Oh my gosh, one of my mentors, Miss Corbett, Toya Corbett is here. She says, all true. I love LinkedIn. Had great success in the last year from my posts. This is Danielle again. She says, yeah, instant pitching is annoying. It makes you put your guard up. I love it. So let's talk about, again, another strategy, right? Because we're giving them ways they can leverage LinkedIn to attract and get more speaking engagements. I mean, YB, definitely that last lead generation prospect attraction. Just yes, thumbs up and a head nod for that one. Strategy. One of the strategies that you gave me, because I'm honestly a speaker, right? But I know everybody's not an extrovert speaker like myself. And you had encouraged me to use more video in my LinkedIn. So I do a lot of posting of video. What about that speaker who's a speaker and they're like an extrovert when they're on stage, but they're really an introvert? What kind of strategies can they use to kind of really leverage their LinkedIn? Is that still video, or is there another way that they can really leverage themselves on LinkedIn, Bianca?
Oh man, that's a great question. I will say this. My 3 tenets for LinkedIn is definitely expertise, which YB already mentioned, right? Authenticity, and then storytelling, right? So if you are the introvert who just like, I may not have a bunch of video, you can start pulling people in through story, right? So kind of, whatever your expertise is, how can you tell a story, even your own origin story of pulling people in and, just kind of relating that to whatever your power presentation is or your signature presentation is, but like finding different inbound strategies that you can pull people your way. I think that is really important, especially using story in your about section, in your post, even something as simple as when you're posting, you have 2 to 3 or even 4 sentences, setting up that in a way that is a story that is engaging. Like that first sentence is a hook and you're just like, okay, I got to read the rest of this, because we see so much stuff on our feeds, but there isn't always something that's going to grab your attention. So you need something that's going to grab people's attention. And story for me is one of the best ways that I know how to do it on LinkedIn.
And if I can add to that as well, yes, using the featured section as well is very important, because you may put out some valuable content, and when you feature it, it's allowed to stay stuck on your profile. So you notice how when you post messages, it goes into the feed and it continues to go down as everybody's posting. But if you feature a specific message that you want to be highlighted as an introvert, so you may not feel comfortable putting out a bunch of content, but maybe you put out some tremendous content that's getting a lot of traction. You want to feature that so that stays on your profile. As people scroll, they'll see it, they'll access it, and then they'll take action. But then also, as an introvert, is creating some type of a strategic alliance or strategic network that when people see your content, they share it, you share their content, so that you have this, it's kind of like on Instagram where people have these these networks where, you know, they will share each other's content. So creating that with some type of a group so that you don't have to feel compelled to keep putting out content, people will share your content for you. So that's something that as an introvert works for a lot of folks that I work with.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, most people call them marketing pods.
Right.
So you may hear people like, "Oh, I'm about to start this marketing pod. How many people want to sign up for it?" So that would definitely work.
Yeah.
See, learn something new every day. Marketing
pods. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think another great strategy, even if you don't have a lot of video, is leveraging whatever images that you do have, because you got to show something, right? You got to show them you doing the thing. So you on stage, you in front of a crowd, just something, so that people can kind of start getting that mental image that you are a speaker, that they can hire you to speak, they can hire you to be an MC. But showing them is better than telling them.
Yes, I love it. So Josephine Lambert says, great guest, Quinn. Keep super serving. Thank you. I told y'all I try to bring y'all the best, so I'm liking this. So I want to talk about how people can leverage, which is so good. You guys are dropping so many gems and nuggets. So I hope that you guys are literally taking notes, because I have a feeling like y'all going to see a little, I'm going to keep spicing my LinkedIn profile up. One of the reasons why I love LinkedIn, because especially for like a speaker or entrepreneur, it can even serve as like a mini website, because, you know, a lot of people, I don't have my website quite yet. So there's images, it's testimonials, it's the about. I mean, can you talk about how speakers can maybe even, I'll start with you, YB, leverage almost their LinkedIn page as a mini website until their site gets up? Do you think that they can do that?
Yeah, I actually did it. So that's why I was nodding my head. I actually did
okay.
it. When I first got started. So I've been speaking for about 20 years. So, but I didn't have all of the good stuff that, you know, people needed. But when I started YB Connects, I got my handle, or, you know, bought my URL, and I pointed it to my LinkedIn profile because I didn't have a website.
Smart.
I couldn't afford one. So when people went to ybconnects.com, they landed on my LinkedIn profile, because at first, so when I was using LinkedIn, or when I was working in nonprofit, I was using it as a CRM, or customer relationship management tool, right? So every time I met someone at an event, I was like, hey, are you on LinkedIn? Can we connect? And that's how I built my network. But then when I shifted to my business, I didn't have the website. I didn't want to lose the momentum. I still wanted to connect with people on LinkedIn. So what I did was, when I put on my little business card, and I know people don't probably know what a business card is anymore, right? But when I put that on a business card, they went to ybconnects.com, and it landed on my LinkedIn profile, and they was able to see me in action in terms of the things that I offered as a speaker at that time. And so that's the best way to add credibility. If you do not have a website, if you're just getting started, just get your URL, point it to your LinkedIn profile, and work the work, and build your business, get your client base, and then use the revenue you generate from your speaking to go ahead and get somebody to do your website for you.
I love it. Bianca, did you want to add anything about, for the people who might not, like you said, because we all start at different layers and levels in this. How can somebody who maybe don't have a website, is it a good idea to leverage LinkedIn until you get there? And YB, that's a great idea to kind of buy your domain from GoDaddy. I mean, what's that, $10? And then just direct it to LinkedIn. Is there anything that you want to add to that, Bianca?
Of course, I think it's a fabulous idea. So even when I was in transition from one site to the other, that's what I did. I pushed people to my LinkedIn profile. I would just say that if you're going to do that, and I think everyone should, especially if you don't have a website, just have a process that once you can get someone to say, yes, I want to work with you, that there's a process that they go into automatically, like some type of sales funnel. One of the worst things that I hate on LinkedIn is that you do that back and forth, like, hey, what time are you available? You're available this day? What about this time? No, have a link that, you know, they can just go ahead and sign up for a call for you, so that it's a seamless process to get them off.
That's right.
That's awesome. So listen, everybody is loving y'all right now in the comments. Literally, this is good. This is good. So I want to ask you real quick. So for people who are like, oh my gosh, I need Bianca, I need YB in my life, I want you to go ahead and take the time and broadcast your brilliance. Where can people connect with you? I know on LinkedIn. What is your handle? Where can people find you on LinkedIn? And if they want to connect with you, what should they connect with you about in regards to LinkedIn? Because I don't want somebody saying, hey, YB, can you connect with me or teach me how to upgrade my resume? And that's not what you do. So tell them, broadcast your brilliance, and let them know if they're coming to you for LinkedIn assistance, how can you serve them?
Yeah, first of all, I unlock the power of LinkedIn for entrepreneurs who want to increase their visibility, credibility, and profitability. So those who come to me, the best way to do it is when you get on LinkedIn, make sure you send a personalized note. Don't just hit the connect button. I just did a video on this. You know, when you hit the connect button, you come across as if you're begging. Please let me in your network. No, you send a personalized note, let folks know or let us know, hey, we heard you on Quinn's show. We'd like to connect with you, and just tell why. You have a short amount of characters that you can use, but focus on sending a message there. But folks can actually find me on LinkedIn. Let's start there. Let's build. Send a personalized note, and I'll be more than happy to connect. And we can schedule a 15-minute call to identify how we can best serve as a resource for one another.
That's awesome. Bianca, if people want to connect with you on LinkedIn, what should they be connecting with you for?
Well, actually, I have an ebook that basically outlines my own strategy that I use to get speaking engagements on LinkedIn. So if people want that, they can definitely hit me up on LinkedIn. They can actually message me here on Facebook too. So it's just my name. Yeah, Bianca G. Jackson.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're about to come to a close. I always like to honor and stay in between about 45 minutes. So again, I want to thank you. If you guys are not already following them, connect with them on LinkedIn. If you are speaking, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a LinkedIn strategy for 2021, you are leaving money on the table. Bianca and YB, I both highly recommend them to get your LinkedIn life together, okay?
Where the money resides.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and just kind of take this to a close. I want you to kind of take some time out. And this is what I call melanin at the mic. And this is where I want you to give 60 seconds of motivation, inspiration to speakers and entrepreneurs out there who maybe are thinking about, should I really get on LinkedIn? Should I invest in this? I mean, I got my Instagram. That should be good enough. What message would you tell? I'm going to start with you, Bianca, then I'm going to end with you, YB. What message would you give to people in regards to leveraging LinkedIn as a speaker and entrepreneur for 2021?
I would say this. I just did this today. I leveraged my own network and I created this whole roundtable where I was talking to procurement and supplier diversity people. They gave me so much insight on how to get corporate contracts, how to get government contracts, that if I didn't take the time to build up my network over the years, I wouldn't have access to these people. So I'm going to say this for any entrepreneur, any business owner out there who knows that they have massive income goals on their 2021 and beyond income plan, they definitely need to be on LinkedIn and just stop playing. Don't be scared of it. Just take the time to find, YB or me to help you out, because that's where the money resides.
Listen. You see my clapper, y'all? I'm telling you, I'll be doing too much. Listen, I love it. YB, what about you? Melanin at the mic. What inspiration, motivation, or just kind of like people who might not still be on the edge with LinkedIn, what would you tell them to kind of go ahead and push them over? Because again, I truly believe if you don't have a LinkedIn strategy for 2021, you're either lazy or you're unaware or you want to leave money on the table. We don't want nobody leaving money on the table. So what would you say to them?
Yeah, 2012, I was laid off from a nonprofit position. And as I was leaving that position, I prayed to God that he would deposit within me something that would allow me to live for him and utilize the gift that I have to be a blessing to others. And that's when he blessed me with YB Connects. I had one connection from Virginia Union. And she said, YB, please come and share your insight with my people. I'm going to pay you a 4-figure check, take care of all of your expenses, all of that good stuff, right? Why am I telling you this? Because you are one connection away from your 4-figure, 5-figure, 6-figure check. But if you're not on LinkedIn, it's going to go to someone else. Okay? People will do business with those they know, like, and trust, and they can't do business with you if they don't know you exist. So you need to be on LinkedIn so that you can increase your visibility, your credibility, and your profitability. Don't play games in 2021 and build your network now, because the way things are going, you saw what happened in 2020. If you don't have a network, you're going to be out there on your own. So build your network now, get on LinkedIn, connect with Bianca, myself, and let's get you tight work so you can generate the money where the money resides.
Right. let me say something real quick. Your check gonna go to that person that's on LinkedIn.
That's exactly right. Facts. Factory.
I love it. Listen, Bianca, YB, thank you so much. I mean, literally in the comments, they are still showing you so much love. I know that you guys are both busy out here speaking and serving and making the money. So I don't take it for granted that you stopped by the Speak Black Woman podcast. I appreciate y'all for doing that. Hang around for just a second. I want to thank you. I'm going to close this on out. But again, I just want to thank you so much for joining the Speak Black Women podcast. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, YB, Bianca, listen, they have said it a couple different times. If you have not already connected with them on LinkedIn, make sure you do that. Not yesterday, not in 2 weeks, but today, because I can personally attest that how their insight and their strategy has really assisted me with growing my LinkedIn profile and connections. So again, if this is your very first time catching me or the Speak Black Women podcast, my name is Quinn Conyers, and I really teach Black women in business how to turn conversations into cash so they can profit from public speaking virtually and in person. And to be honest with you, LinkedIn has been my secret weapon, thanks to YB and Bianca J. Jackson. So again, I thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Speak Black Woman podcast. Each and every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you can quarantine with Quinn. If you can't catch me live, the replay is always available. And make sure you go to your iPhone or your Android and download the Speak Black Woman podcast and leave a comment on the episode that truly blessed you and touched your heart. Until next time, I'll see you next Wednesday, 4 o'clock live. And of course, you can watch or listen at your leisure on your cell phone. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.